The year was 1999. Thousands of refugees were ejected from their homes in East Timor following the violence that ensued over the United Nations-sponsored referendum to end Indonesia's 24-year occupation. In the middle of the chaos, 53-year-old Budi Sohardi, a pilot with Singapore Airlines, and his wife Peggy organized a relief drop. They navigated the conflict-ridden areas and delivered more than 40 tons of food and medical supplies to East Timor refugee camps.
What I was seeing there was people living in a very sad condition. And as based on humanity, I just want to help people who are needing help at the moment.
What they witnessed along the border between East and West Timor were children who fled the horrors of war without food and without homes, abandoned, scared, and hopeless.
Yang kami lihat pada waktu itu hidup mereka sangat susah, mereka susah mendapatkan air bersih, susah mendapatkan makanan yang layak, ya mereka tinggal di tempat-tempat yang tidak sepantasnya dijadikan tempat tinggal, ya keadaan memang sangat susah. Ada yang tidak punya orang tua, tidak tahu orang tuanya di mana.
Budi and his wife Peggy could have walked away. But instead of leaving them to face an uncertain future, they went a step further. They built for them a home here in Kupang, West Timor. And for the past 7 years, Roslin Orphanage has been a place where they feed the kids, provide medical care and education to all the 48 children under their care.
The children who are here, most of them, the mother passed away right after childbirth. But some of them also being left at our gate. Some of them was really coming from the very poor family. So the extreme poverties are still existing here.
Budi and Peggy feel that kids should feel loved and safe, something which these kids had been deprived of until Budi and Peggy entered their lives. That's why since 2002, Roslin Orphanage has not only provided for the kids free education, but clothing, food and a roof over their heads. More importantly, Budi has opened his doors to all the 48 children by becoming a father to all of them. To many parents, this is an extraordinary sacrifice that few people are prepared to make.
I was there myself, and it's not nice to be poor, and it's a joy for us to be able to give somebody a hope, a smile, a place to live, and some decency on their living.
Kalau Pak Budi orangnya terhadap keluarga saja dia perhatiannya besar. Sampai-sampai kadang-kadang dia lupa terhadap dirinya sendiri. Ya. Dia penyayang, sabar orangnya, ramah orangnya, ya, dan untuk berbuat sesuatu pada orang atau membuat orang itu senang, dia bahagia. Jadi dia juga datang bukan dari keluarga orang punya, sehingga dia tahu betul bahwa susah itu tidak enak. Jadi dia ingin membahagiakan orang lain.
The most astounding part of Budi and Peggy's journey is that they've done it almost all on their own, funded by Budi's salary as a pilot.
My wife and I will come to our age whereby we think that we can only eat maybe twice a day. 2 plates more than enough. So we have some to share, why not? So yes, we are focusing on education, but in terms of food, clothing and many other things, they can come later. But for education, we want to make sure that they can do their studies and reach their optimum in terms of their ability to study.
Saya bangga sekali sama suami saya karena dia juga orang yang tidak pernah mengeluh mengenai apa yang dikeluarkan selama ini untuk menjamin panti ini. Ya, mungkin dia juga di dalam hati kecil dia juga mungkin dia kepengen punya sesuatu tapi selalu dia tunda. Jadi apa yang kebutuhan di sini dinomorsatukan oleh dia. Jadi kalau memang ada teman yang nyumbang kita, di dalam 1 bulan itu ada teman yang nyumbang kita, ya syukur-syukur gaji kita bisa kita sisihkan lagi begitu. Jadi bukan penuh 100% setiap bulan, tidak. Teman-teman juga mempunyai hati yang mulia, kadang-kadang mereka berbagi pada kita.
But to ensure that the children will not go hungry, Budi has opened up a rice plantation so that the orphanage can reach self-sufficiency in the supply of rice. So far, the effort has borne fruit.
What makes me and my wife happy is to see the efforts is having some sort of promising results. For example, we plant our rice. And about 3 weeks' time, when we can see the rice fields growing well, our hope is getting higher and higher, bigger and bigger.
Budi has promised to be the father of the children until they grow up. And to these 48 kids, he's their dad, and Peggy is their mum. They get to run, sing, and play like ordinary kids because of them. And they're able to feel loved just like other ordinary children because of Budi and Peggy's compassion and affection.
Most of them who are coming here as babies, they are seeing me as their father figure. And to my wife especially, they call my wife as Mama, because from days old babies until now, my wife is still the one who is taking care of them day in and day out.
Budi's father-in-law, Mr. Cornelius Lacusa, has been helping the orphans by giving extra English lessons outside normal school hours almost every day. He feels that what Budi has done for the children is the best thing that has ever happened to the country.
They get a place to stay. The kids, they get their meals, and they get the Indonesian education plus the English lessons. Because in Indonesia, if you are not able to speak English when you are an adult, you will get the trouble how to find a job. So far, this is the best way to educate Indonesian people.
But taking care of 48 children is not an easy task. That's the reason why they've been taught to be independent. The older ones will have to shoulder the extra responsibility in taking care of the younger ones.
According to the motto that we have for this orphanage, as togetherness is our strength, it is indeed proven that this orphanage, we don't need much help from people whereby to be hired to look after them. No, because the older children, they are having responsibility enough to look after the little ones, and it's a blessing. You know, it's whereby one another helping, the older one helping the little one, problem cure, problem solved.
Most people would treasure their hard-earned cash, live their dreams and enjoy their wealth among their own immediate family members. But Budi and his wife Peggy have decided to share their joy with 48 others and raise them until they're independent enough to face the world on their own.
Mewah itu tidak perlu harta. Mewah itu kesenangan itu juga bisa mewah. Ya, hidup saling sayang itu juga mewah sebetulnya. Ya, mewah dalam arti punya harta yang banyak maksudnya. Oh, saya rasa saya dan suami sudah punya semua. Ya, kami punya anak yang pintar-pintar. Saya punya suami yang baik. Itu semua sudah kekayaan yang luar biasa bagi saya. Itu sudah kemewahan.
The main thing, it is for us to do our best. We are not we are not able to see what's going to happen in the future, but I believe if you're doing things properly with your heart, the outcome will be so-called good at the end.
What makes them happy is when one of the orphans, 20-year-old Guson Mangi, earned a place in the medical faculty. Guson, who became an orphan when he was 9, was struggling throughout his childhood until he was admitted to the orphanage when he was 12.
Saya sangat senang sekali bisa bertemu dengan Pak Budi dan Ibu. Saya sangat senang tinggal di sini. Saya tidak bisa berterima kasih saya. Saya hanya bisa berdoa untuk mereka, karena mereka sangat baik. Mereka tidak hanya mengurus diri mereka sendiri, tapi mereka juga berbagi dengan kami yang membutuhkannya. Bagi anak-anak yang lain yang sangat ingin melanjutkan hidup mereka, terutama sekolah mereka.
Guson is a source of pride for Budi and Peggy, and he'll be relied upon to take care of the orphanage when they finally have to bid their final farewell one day.
That boy has told me in person, and my wife as well, that he will look after this place on our behalf.
Apabila saya menjadi dokter, nanti saya akan melayani setiap masyarakat dengan baik, terutama dengan penuh kasih seperti yang telah Pak Budi tunjukkan pada saya. Saya akan menolong banyak orang.
Budi and Peggy are walking on a long and challenging journey of becoming the guardian and the parents of all their 48 children. And just like all parents, they will not rest until all the children get the best education and are independent enough to chart their own future.
Once they finish the university, we will let them go. And there is no string attached. We're not hoping anything in return from them. And if we can, help them to reach so-called self-sufficiency stage on their own, our goal has been fulfilled. So nothing for us, but at least our efforts has reached its target.
For many of these 48 children, Budi and Peggy have given them a new lease of life and tender loving care which they missed when their real parents walked away from them. But walking away is not an option for both Budi and his wife Peggy, because taking care of the kids has become their lifetime commitment. They get to laugh, play and fulfill their dreams because of them. And they get to be kids just because Budi is their hero.
Ya, mereka lebih dari hero. Mereka punya hati yang mau berbagi dan mengorbankan semua yang mereka miliki hanya untuk menolong kami. Saya rasa mereka cocok sebagai seorang hero untuk masyarakat.
Harapan saya bagi anak-anak di sini, mereka selesai sekolah dan mereka punya masa depan yang bagus. Karena saya mau mereka juga menikmati apa yang saya dan suami dan anak-anak sudah nikmati selama ini. Itu saja.
Everybody can be anything if they are nurtured properly and we are giving them a proper education and giving them also the chance to explore themselves. My wife and I, we will be trying our best to help them, to bring them up to higher pedestal, to higher goals, and also very importantly is to keep them healthy.
In a fast-paced, modern society like Singapore, time just whizzes past for many. But for these lonely aged, the remains of their days seem to be unbearably and aimlessly long. Until 2 dedicated volunteers came into their lives, bringing them some hope and cheer. For more than 25 years, Linda Koh and Michael Chung have been devoting their time resources and energy to serving destitute elderly folks. Rain or shine, Linda will turn up with a group of volunteers to distribute meals and food rations to 130 impoverished elderly folks in Tiong Bahru, an old public housing estate in the south of Singapore. Thrice a week, these elderly Singaporeans will look forward to not only food, but also some good company from Linda and the volunteers. Life for these aged folks is a lonely existence in their one-room rented flats, as many do not have any family members to look after them. On other days, Linda, a housewife, will busy herself over other aspects such as food collection, organising outings and visiting those elderly who are homebound. And Linda's social consciousness has been much inspired by her late mother.
My mother used to have the beggars. Whenever she saw beggars downstairs, she would cook for them, give them. So from young, I learned this from my mother. And I especially like to help the poor, the destitute, and those without any next of kin. Time is well spent because I know that I'm doing a wealthy cause.
Over the years, Linda has inspired some 40 volunteers to join in her cause and share her conviction. Among them is Lim Chin Ha, who has been working alongside with Linda for more than 15 years.
我觉得我们东巴路的这一区的老人相当幸福的，因为林德照顾到他们真的是无微不至，精神上、物质上他都尽量帮忙，甚至有些他们还把他们的身后事啦。 甚至他们的银行的存款呢，都要托付他。能够取得到他们的这样的信任的很少。
Beyond care and friendship, Linda also imparts new skills to the elderly women. Hoping to reach out to the lonely seniors in the early 1980s, she started a sewing class. Many of the participants were Samsui women. These women, who wore a distinctive red headgear, were early Chinese immigrants who worked at the construction sites in Singapore. Initially, it was challenging for Linda to get these women, who were used to lifting earth and bricks, to pick up a needle and thread. But when their handicrafts were sold at a charity fair and their painstaking efforts recognized by the First Lady of Singapore, they were greatly motivated to carry on. Although most of the 30 Samsui women are no longer around today, another group is carrying on the good work. These women, who come from another part of the estate, have been sewing Samsui dolls designed by Linda. The dolls are meant to keep the memory of these special, strong Chinese women alive. In addition to the dolls, quilts and toys are also made with a sense of purpose and love. 82-year-old Madam Lim Ai Chu is a great-grandmother who wants to do her bit for charity. She's been sewing with the group for over 20 years and still enjoys the fruit of her labor.
很有意义，尤其是我们每年去那个Takashimaya 那边卖的时候，真的心里很兴奋，看到很多东西能够销出去啊，心里很满足。
At a charity fair in 2009, Linda's stall raised over $2,000, not a big sum by commercial standards, but the joy and satisfaction it has brought to the seniors is immeasurable. Another volunteer who gives generously with his big heart is Michael Chung. Having grown up in a poor family, Michael could empathize deeply with the less fortunate. When he started his electronics trading company, Le Champ, in 1982, he resolved to do something to help the poor, especially the elderly, whom he feels has little time left to enjoy their life.
Being a new businessman and short of money, and I was thinking, should I concentrate on my business do well, then maybe I can come back and I can do whatever I want. But on second thought, a businessman will never have enough money because whatever you earn, you have to plow back. So the decision was very easy. If I want to help, I have to do it now.
As he gave to the poor, his company also prospered over the past 27 years. With a heavy workload, Michael often has little time to spend with the aged. But for what he can't give in time, he's more than compensated in kind. Every year, he sponsors a lunch event for 700 destitute old folks. Besides good food and live entertainment, the special guests also get to bring home gifts and red packets. For many of them, dining at a grand restaurant like this is a rare treat.
For all these old folks, my particular interest was that life for them should not be just limited to just porridge and rice and little else. How can I bring fun to their life?
To fill their lives with sweet memories, Michael treats them to goodies like hampers, mooncakes, and durian, a tropical fruit. He also pays for their outings to places of interest in Singapore. And when he learned that many old folks had never travelled on a plane before, he chartered 2 Silk Air flights to take 300 of them on a ride to nowhere. In yet another year, he brought a group of elderly on a 5-day Bangkok tour.
Doing charity is one of the best things in my life. And if I can do more, I will do so. I will not stop.
Like Michael, Linda does not intend to give up volunteer work and retire in her golden years. Not even after 2 kneecap replacement surgeries that has slowed her down. Although both Linda and Michael have received accolades for their good work, they remain humble and focused. For them, nothing can take the place of the joy they derive in brightening the lives of these senior citizens in their silver years.